we're here to tell you about West High Track and Field and some of the main questions, concerns, that sort of thing that we get. And I guess most importantly, right off the bat, the question or answer that we want to get across is how can the sport of track and field help someone who decides to come out and join the team?
I think first and foremost, our sport's a safe space for everybody that would be involved in any sport, whether they're done it before or not done it before. But I also think our intent is to help everyone get a little faster. And we've got the data to show that the longer they do it, the better they get at it. And the better they get at it, they can take that knowledge and go anywhere with that. Football, basketball, any sport that we do. That's at the high school. And then finally, we don't cut anybody and we don't exclude anybody. Our main emphasis is that everybody's welcome, and we want to help all programs at West High and make them the most successful as possible.
I would say maybe the most important for me to get across on that one is like the transferable skills. Speed is needed in every sport. Speed, strength, that footwork, all that stuff that you could get between the 19 different events, which kind of takes us to our next question. How are you different from other sports at West High?
I think we said one already. First and foremost, that we have 19 different events, which requires anywhere between 35 to 40 kids in any given meet. That makes us different. Most sports don't include that many people on a varsity lineup. That makes us different in and of itself. We let anyone 9 through 12 be in a varsity meet any given week, on any given day, if they're available and they've earned that possibility. We want them to be involved. But I also think that it requires little to no equipment needs. They show up, they work out, and they got to give themselves an opportunity to participate. And I think that's pretty big for our sport.
Okay. Next kind of addressed question is, you got 19 events, you got so many meets, that spreads, a lot of guys. Then say, what are the goals of the team, and then what does a season look like for somebody who's never done this before?
So our goals are in general just overall development. That's obviously speed development for our sprinters. That's overall fitness development for our distance guys. That's strength development and footwork for our throwers. But we also want to work on biomechanics and form, learning to use your body in a more effective way. I think that's key. I would also argue one of our main goals is to have a top-tier team, both competitively, but also in terms of how well we treat each other and how welcoming we are. I think that's huge. As far as what our season looks like, we start in February. It goes all the way up through May. Obviously, like baseball season or football season, we've got multiple levels competing, but no one competes in all of those meets. So when you look at our schedule, there's a lot on there, but that's not because everybody's going to compete in any of them. It allows people at all different levels to compete at least once during the school week, and then get back to practice and get better at whatever skill they're trying to get better at.
Right. So conference championships, state championships, all that's on the line, even at freshman, sophomore level.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the end of the season, obviously, May is our championship month. We've got a conference meet in the last month or so that there's two levels. There's a fresh soft level and there's a varsity level. We're obviously trying to win that, and just as much as any other meet. And next week we're at a state qualifying meet. It determines who goes to state meet, and then the next following the third week in May, we're competing at the state meet down in Des Moines, where there's every class, boys and girls, all together at one state meet. It's pretty fantastic when you see 10, 20,000 people watching you compete at a high school event. That's pretty awesome.
The largest state track meet in the nation.
Absolutely.
Okay, so somebody who's a beginner, thinking about coming out for track, how do they figure out, how do you find out where you fit in, and what's that, I guess, trajectory look like afterward?
Yeah, I mean, I think we do a pretty good job. Someone, comes to practice, and we obviously we want them to fill out the goal sheet, so we have an idea of kind of what they're thinking or their experience, and we take that goal sheet and sort of match it up with a coach that we have that kind of fits its best, that best event or that best skill level, that best experience level, and then we get them in there. And of course, as we watch practice and watch them do things, we as coaches have enough experience to look at them and say, well, have you ever tried this? We'll give them lots of opportunities to train at a certain event or thing, and if they're pretty good at it, we'll continue to do it. If they're not, then we'll say, okay, we tried that, let's try something else. In general, we try and build skills that anybody can transfer from one event to the next. So all of our guys are doing some sort of hip mobility and hurdle work. All of our guys are doing some jump and agility work. All of our guys are working speed in some capacity or another. So it doesn't really matter what event group you're in, but we try and cater our coaching to match the goals and the experience and the skill level of each of those kids. All of the 100 kids are going to get exactly what they need when they need it. That's why we have so many coaches on our staff.
Yeah, I think between the 19 events, there's definitely a place for everyone. If you're training, let's say for a 400-meter race, that kind of brings your versatility to, a half a lap race, a 200 all the way down to the 100, and maybe you're one of those guys that steps up to the half mile. But the 400, there's relays, open events, between the sprint medley, the distance medley, the open 4, the 400 hurdles, 4x4. There's a lot of opportunities to run one lap or less on the track. So
I also think that with the 19 events, you have things that people don't think about. We don't think of something just called track. We don't think about the field events. There's a lot of guys that have ended up being just throwers and throwing the discus and throwing the shot put, or just jumpers, jumping high jump or long jump. Those things are also things that we do. It is track and field, so that's another way that people can get involved too. Don't necessarily their best favorite thing to do may not be run, but we still give them a chance to be involved if that's something they're interested in and want to be good at.
And I think to close here, that kind of transitions like the most surprising facts about the program, and I would say sport is like some people I think underestimate the skill that goes into some of the field events and how like how well that skill transfers, being footwork in the throws ring or the explosiveness of the jumping events. If you go look at like some of the Drake Relays results from the throws events in past years, you'll see some huge names in there. You'll see Tristan Wirfs. You'll see all sorts of Division I football players and athletes. And then if you go over to you'll see that Riley Moss is the state hurdle 110 meter high hurdle record holder, and just names like that I think is a very interesting or surprising fact about the sport of track and field, and the state of it here in Iowa is it's just that it's athletes all over the place. So
yeah, and to reiterate what I think there's something in track and field that could help every other sport, and we try and cater ourselves and sort of be athlete centered. If you want to be able to dunk on the basketball court, then we try and center that our work around that. I think that's different as we can do that because we have the number of coaches, but we also have the number of focus areas where you can lend yourself to just working better at that particular thing if you wanted. I think the other thing that makes our sport a little different is that we offer at the end of the season 2 scholarships to people that have been on our team. One is the Lucas Brenneman Scholarship, which goes to a 4-year member of our team who's given and lived the way that Lucas lived when he was on the team. His parents have sponsored that and will continue to sponsor that in his memory. And the second is the Fly the W Scholarship that we partner with Harbor City, a local church in town that was really big on the same goals and matched our goals and wanted to participate. And that's goes to any student that we pick who's been in the program 4 years. and given their heart and soul to us, and we want to end that their career and send them on to the next chapter of their journey with a little bit of money in their pocket, so they can say, hey, I'm going to use this to further my career and make the best out of what I got. And I think that makes us different. I don't know what the other programs do, but I think that speaks a lot to the way that we operate, and our emphasis is on the kids and what they need, and we want the best of them, whether they end up being awesome track and field athletes or not. We, at the end of the day, we just want them to be good people and good humans and a good part of our community. So.
Yeah, I think maybe lastly for me, I don't know if you'll have something to follow up on this, but I think so surprising fact about our program specifically is our alumni and what they choose to do after. Maybe we've got a pretty healthy amount of alumni that have come back to help out and coach. We've also had alumni that have performed at some of the highest levels in the sport, be it the Olympic trials or USA National Championships and NCAA championships and that sort of thing, all the way, some guys who've gone the JUCO route and Division III route and kind of just making them fall in love with the sport kind of the same way we did, and then having them come back to us and teach us a thing or two, and just really growing some of that passion for track and field, not only at West High and in Iowa City, but just kind of beyond. So we've got kids that have gone on to be head coaches in other communities around the state, which I think is, I don't know, I didn't see myself growing the sport that way, but that's been super cool to see at West and kind of beyond.
And I think I'll just finish with, I think all that we want for any athlete, especially younger athletes that may not know their path in life, that still have some room to grow and develop, or are not sure what they think their sport's going to be. I certainly didn't when I was 13, 14, 15 years old. Give us a try. Come on out. We start February 20th. Come on out. We try and cater our practices and have them done by 5:30 every day. We try and make our practice. No, we don't have weekend practices so that people can go on the weekends, do the things that they like to do. And I think we also have no cuts. So that's the part of our sport that I think is worth giving us a try. And if you don't like it, that's fine. But give us a try, and I think you'll find that there's something for everybody, and hopefully that somebody is you.